This video is going to go over what are the 5 best long range rifles based on TTKs. Now obviously there's going to be some guns that have better recoil control, but we are mainly looking at the guns that kill the absolute fastest out to range. We also had a slight adjustment to the way health works inside Warzone 2 as well, that some guns, for example like the M4, do more damage to armor plates than it does to the base health, so we had to factor that in as well. Now what we have here is our TTK spreadsheet with all the fully automatic guns in the game that are long range rifles. This is going to be LMGs, ARs, and also battle rifles, any of them that are fully automatic for the actual base weapon. And then we also have this at 250 HP, chest shots only, so just keep that in mind. It's not a mixed shot location one. It's a chest shot only TTK to give you a rough idea of how these TTKs are working at the moment. We will make an updated video in the future. Now, when it comes to actual damage ranges, you will have quite a few gunfights within the second damage range here, so it is relatively important, I would say, but it's not super important because the gunfights you want to mainly focus on challenging are going to be this range here, and also sometimes you might be challenging gunfights out to a 4th damage range depending on where the drop-offs are with the gun you're using. But like I said, most of your gunfights will be somewhere between TTK range 2 and TTK range 3 for most of these guns, and obviously the range itself varies depending on the weapon. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at range 3 because this is the most likely engagement range and find the fastest TTK gun. So as you can see here, we've got the STB being the fastest TTK in that 3rd damage range. Now if you do look at the TTK range 4 now, as you can see, it's over 1,000, and that is not ideal considering most guns kill way quicker than that. So then we look at the next gun down, which is the TAC-V, and I do think the TAC-V is a very solid choice still. People were previously using this gun, and I still think it's a solid choice if you know how to manage the recoil of the weapon. And 841 TTK is definitely an ideal time to kill to have. Then we are looking at the Chimera, which to be honest is not a long range gun by any means, so there's no point trying that one. We've got the RAP, but then if you look slightly further down, we've got the Sakin, and I do think in terms of overall recoil control, the Sakin is a little bit better, and that is why I would recommend the Sakin over the RAP. Even though the RAP kills like 8 milliseconds quicker, that's not going to be noticeable when you're landing more shots. And even that TTK range 2 is actually faster as well. So overall, I do think the Sakin's a better choice. Then we've got the Icarus, which obviously you might as well just go for the Sakin once again, so it's kind of pointless there. Then we do have the Hemlock Assault Rifle. Now, what's really good about the Hemlock, and what you're probably noticing here anyway, the Kastov 7.62, which was pretty much meta when it comes to before it got nerfed and changed slightly, it actually has a very similar TTK numbers, and the only time this changes is when you look at the extremity values. So if you're looking at the basically limb shots and things, then when you get a mixed shot location TTK, the Kastov 7.62 does come out on top, but only slightly even in that case as well, so you're probably always better off with the Hemlock because it's way easier to control when it comes to recoil. So the new assault rifle actually is a very good choice, surprisingly. Now moving on further down, you can use the Kastov 7.62. It's still a solid choice, it's still a solid weapon in my opinion. I think it's still going to be a meta choice. But then obviously the RPK is just that little bit easier to use, bigger mag capacity, better damage per mag, all that good stuff. So you are obviously going to be better off with the RPK, and as you can see here, it doesn't drop off to that 900 millisecond TTK, so you do get 800 out to as far as possible. Now if I quickly bring the spreadsheet back up here and arrange for the second damage drop off, as you can see here, the RAL kills insanely fast, and it doesn't drop off for a 3rd range or a 4th range, so you're going to get 612 milliseconds out to infinity, which is absolutely insane, and even the mix shots on this are absolutely broken as well. I don't want to waste too much time on the builds here because tuning and attachments are pretty much more or less the same as before. When it comes to optic, I like the AIM OPV4. The attachment tuning is what you see on screen. You can choose whatever you prefer, to be perfectly honest. We do have the OLE laser for LMGs as an absolute must. You're not using the mag attachment, so you might as well put the laser on there. for the faster aim down sight time, and obviously the tuning is what you're seeing on screen at the moment. What's important here is that you do go for high velocity with pretty much every LMG as well, because most of the barrels don't actually help with recoil control, so there's no point in actually using the barrels here, especially for the RPK. And then when you are tuning the high velocity, you can basically budget more over towards recoil steadiness. It will give you a bit more recoil control if you need that, whilst keeping a lot of the bullet velocity in the weapon still, because the amount of bullet velocity you get with high velocity is absolutely ridiculous. And then we are tuning more towards damage range because recoil smoothness doesn't do anything. We are using the Precision 40 underbarrel grip because it is the best underbarrel grip to use for recoil control on pretty much any assault rifle. If you are tuning this, you'll want to push it more towards aim down sight speed, and personally either hip fire accuracy and hip walking speed is not too important on a rifle like this. Zulu suppressor, if it is available, is the best suppressor pretty much hands down. This gives you that good balance between aim down sight speed, so it's not conning it too much. It gives you bullet velocity, recoil control, so overall you're getting a really good suppressor here. Some weapons don't have it, unfortunately, but for the most part you do want to go for that. Attachment tuning again is what you're seeing on screen. Now this gun did get a nerf, but to be fair, the nerf was nowhere near enough to make this gun no longer meta. It's absolutely still a broken choice. If you tune this correctly, with the right attachments, it's still going to be absolutely broken. So I am using the AIM OPV4 attachment once again for optic. You could choose whatever you want. You still need to choose the laser on there for the better aim down sight time. I am tuning this more towards idle stability because I do want that recoil control back in the weapon. We are using high velocity once again, which is an absolute must for LMGs. We are tuning more slightly towards recoil steadiness, just to, again, to control the recoil of the weapon because they did nerf that. Damage range as well, we are boosting that up. When it comes to underbarrel grips, the SA side grip is the best one to use. It is going to give you the best possible control. You do want to tune it more towards idle stability, of course, and recoil stabilization, just to make sure we can land those shots with this gun. And then we are using the Talon 16 suppressor, which is the best suppressor for this gun in terms of overall balance. So you do get a good bullet velocity bonus, you do get not a huge con to aim down sight, and you do get a bit of recoil control as well. When it comes to the tuning, as you can see here, it is the best way to tune it. You can go more towards the idle stability down at the bottom. I don't feel it's necessary, but if you do need extra control, you can do that. Next up, we've got the ISO Hemlock, and as you've seen, the TTKs on this gun are actually very good. Now, I don't have this gun max leveled yet, but in terms of attachments, you do want to use the AIM OPV4 optic, or whatever optic you like. The 45 round mags are an absolute must on this weapon because damage per mag is not great, and they should buff the mags on this weapon in general. Then we do have the Precision 40 underbarrel grip once again, which you should be using on pretty much every rifle at the moment. Zulu suppressor, once again, like I said, it's the best balance if you do check the sim.gg website. And then we are using the Fielder barrel because it does actually help with bullet velocity and recoil control, so there's no need to use the high velocity here. In this case, sometimes the barrels do work out slightly better, so this is the one that you want to use. And then attachment tuning, you can use any build that you've seen online already now. There's so many. Next up, we've got the Sakin LMG. LMGs are still the meta at the moment, let's be perfectly honest, and this kills to a really good range, extremely fast. So in terms of the build itself, you can use whatever optic you like. The attachment tuning and the attachment is pretty much the same. The laser you still need on there, obviously the oily laser. Again, attachment tuning is going to be exactly the same. High velocity once again because none of the barrels are good enough on this gun. And then again, attachment tuning is very much the same as the other LMGs. You do want to go more towards recoil steadiness. On LMGs, this is a viable change to do because bullet velocity on LMGs is already relatively high compared to assault rifles. Then we are using the Brune Warrior underbarrel grip, which is the best underbarrel grip for this gun, especially for recoil control. Again, attachment tuning is what you see on screen. We are using the Zulu suppressor, which if it is available, this is the one that you should be using all the time. And then attachment tuning is what you see on screen. Lastly, we've got the Kastov 762. This is still a meta weapon in my opinion. If you tune it correctly, it will still have pretty much no recoil, and it is slightly better in terms of extremity damage to the Hemlock. So You can choose this instead of the Hemlock if you really want that extra TTK if you're landing a lot of limb shots. So when you are going for the optic, you can choose whatever you like once again. The barrel, you do actually want to go for the 406mm barrel because it is the best choice here when it comes to giving you the best possible recoil control. If you actually check the sim.gg website, it is the best one. Attachment tuning is what you see on screen at the moment. Again, we are using the Zulu suppressor, which is going to give you the best control, best bullet velocity, not too much of a con to aim down sight. Attachment tuning, again, is what you see on screen just now. We are using the lock grip once again, and again, the attachment tuning is what you see. And then the 40 round mags, which are an absolute must on this weapon. If we exclude LMGs from this list and just look at TTKs of assault rifles by themselves, this has got the best overall TTK when it comes to mixed shots and all that kind of stuff, so it is definitely a solid choice. Now that is the 5 best long range TTK rifles that are currently inside Warzone at the moment. I do want to give a quick honourable mention to the TAC-V as well. It just has a little bit too much recoil to make it viable for everyone, but if you do have good recoil control, it is a very solid choice. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.